So at the very end of last season, I told you we were going to reinvent this Partizan side. It would be unrecognisable to what you guys had seen last season, at the end of last season. The thing is, turns out that was quite difficult, as you can see. 5 new players, that's it. I'm sorry. So hello and welcome back to Around the Block. Hope you're all doing well and looking forward to today's episode. It's the first episode of a brand new season. It's the first full season we're going to have in charge of Partizan Belgrade. So make sure you do drop a like on the video, subscribe to the channel if you're new around here, and of course, make sure those notification bells are turned on. We've also got 3 games coming up for you today. We've got 2 games against Hapoel Be'er-Sheva, which I've probably absolutely butchered there, but they're an Israeli side who we're playing against in the Champions League second qualifying round, so that'll be quite exciting. And we also have a game against Makva in the league wedged in between those 2 games. The eagle-eyed amongst you will have also seen we've already played the first league game of the season against Vojvodina with a 2-1 victory, which is fantastic considering that they were the runners-up last season. But more on that a little bit later on. First things first, transfers. We've only made 5 of them and we've only sold 1 player. But I have to explain myself, and there are good reasons behind only been 6 transfers in total. Now, the goalkeeper, Schwab, he's left the club. He's gone. You know, we wanted him gone, and he has gone now. He's gone to Rook over in Russia for £1.8 million, which was his value at the time, which I thought was pretty reasonable. And the reason he was allowed to go is because we brought in an adequate replacement for him. So I was very happy with that. I told you I was going to get rid of a lot of players, but only if we could get good replacements for them. And I was thinking like 20 transfers in, 20 transfers out, something like that. Maybe not quite that many, but a lot of transfers. And it's, well, as you can see, it's not worked out like that. And the reason that is because we've not been able to bring in the quality transfers that I thought we would be able to get. But I have worked out why we've not been able to get those quality players. We have scouted hundreds of players throughout this transfer window, and for the most part, the players that are available who are interested to come to the club, they're just not really good enough. This is the cream of the crop from our scout reports, and it's 3.5 stars, maybe 4 stars at a push if the scouts have maybe been a little bit wrong. It's not what we need. We need better, and we need younger players than 33-year-olds, 31-year-olds that are going to demand big contracts. I mean, these guys are already on £53,000, £60,000 per week. We can't afford that. We can only pay £25,000, £30,000 for a player at the very most. So the issue we've had is that players that are good enough who want to join the club are already on massive contracts. Players who are good enough just don't want to join the club, but why don't they want to join the club? And I've had to do some digging to find this out. Now, in terms of European coefficient for each individual club, PSG, as it stands right now, the best club in Europe with 149 coefficient. If we scroll down to 45th in the rankings, it's us, Partizan, theoretically making us the 45th best club in all of Europe, just behind teams like CSKA Moscow and things like that, and Frankfurt are headed up there as well, which must mean that actually around here somewhere, we must be able to see Pushka's Academy soon around here somewhere. Maybe a little bit further down, but they should be up here around here somewhere. Either way, being 45th is very good, but coefficient, that means nothing to players. Players love reputation. The more reputation a club has, the more likely a player is to go there. And quite frankly, our reputation as a club doesn't match our coefficient rating really at 45th. We have to scroll right down to the very bottom of this list, which is about 200 clubs or so, I believe. And we're right down at the bottom, below clubs like Dinamo in Croatia or Salzburg in Austria. Quite low down. You know, a lot of clubs here are a lot better than us in terms of reputation. So that has played a massive impact. Players that we want us to take to the next level aren't interested in signing for us because they can go to Sparta Prague, which are a better club in reputation terms. So they want to go there instead, being the better club. It also doesn't help that the Serbian Super League is down in 15th in European League rankings, up from 19th, but we're still behind leagues like Romania, Croatia, Hungary, Czech Republic, Ukraine, and Russia as well. So actually, Partizan, we're right down the bottom of the list. And because we have the best reputation in all of Serbia, the players that are available to Serbian clubs essentially through the reputation, all the sort of complicated things like that, the best players that are available pretty much already play for Partizan. So we've got to increase our reputation as a club in order to get those better players in. So actually, what we've had to do is just bring in 1 or 2 players that have, you know, got the ability to improve the squad that were available to us, that are actually better than what we already had. Because what we already had, other players weren't much better than that. So there wasn't a whole lot of point spending tons of money on players that weren't going to improve the squad that much, actually. We just had to improve the depth of the squad, have a few more players in there who can actually provide some quality in different positions. So to increase our reputation, we've got to do really well in European football this season, which puts a lot of pressure on us, and it's why this game against Hapoel, and we've got to win these games, is really important, I must say. So going back to these players that we've brought in, 5 being brought into the club, 4 of them have added value to this club. One of them's for the future, I must say. Danny Jones, he was a Patreon player actually back at Pushkas, but we scouted him out. And the scouts thought he's pretty decent, had 4-star potential, 2-star current ability, was very cheap, and I thought, well, why not? Let's bring him in. He might be able to do a job for us here. So Danny Jones, welcome back, I must say. The other 4 players, though, will be slotting into the first team. Now, obviously, we've seen this goalkeeper leave the club, and he's been replaced by David Alimi from Porto for £1.4 million, a Portuguese young goalkeeper with 3.5 stars of current ability. He's better than what we already had, better personality, better attributes, everything like that. Cheaper contract as well. So he was a no-brainer to come into the club, and we get rid of the other goalkeeper who just wasn't going to cut the mustard anymore. Unfortunately, he joined just before the other goalkeeper left, so we couldn't give him a number 1 number, which was rather frustrating. So he's got to be 99 this season, so I do apologise for that. We then brought in 2 centre-backs. It was an area that we were really quite lacking in, I must say. So this guy has come into the club, Mark Hendrick, for, it was quite expensive, 6 million. It does say here 3-star current ability as well. I think other scouts, maybe not, seem to say he's 3.5 star. He's not a bad player. He's the best centre-back at the club, so we had to bring him in. And he's got some good mentals. Physicals, maybe, well, they're not bad. They're not bad at all, are they? But they're not as good as what other defenders could be. And to be fair, for the most part, where they matter, his technicals are decent as well. We could have him as a ball-playing defender with 10 passing as well. But he's solid. One of the best defenders in the league, as you can see from this little star. Leading player from those Serbian Super League sides. So hopefully he'll be decent. Was also actually at one point a Chelsea player. Obviously Chelsea thought he had a big future ahead of him. Turned out he didn't. And then to accompany Mark Hendrick at the back, we've also brought in the player with one of the best names I've ever seen. This isn't a nickname. This is his genuine, real in-game name. For £4 million, Thor Hammerberger. What an absolute name. It's lucky that actually he's pretty decent as well. Otherwise, we would have just bought a useless player because of a name. But again, he comes in, looks very good as a centre-back. Good physicals, good mentals. Where they matter, technicals are also pretty decent. And again, had a pretty decent history. Was a Milan prospect at one point. They thought they could do something with him, but obviously let him go to RZ, and we've probably overspent a little bit on him to get him into the club. But he had a perfect name, so we had to pay the money for it. And then to bolster our midfield just a little bit, we have brought in a player on loan from PSG. We are paying too much per month for him, but he's a very, very good player at 4-star current ability, 4.5 stars of potential. Hopefully, we might be able to get him at the end of his contract or something like that, which would be really, really good. But a centre midfielder, an area that we needed to bolster just a little bit, has some really good attributes across the board, and is going to be a key player for us this season. So Goran Isakovic, he's also Serbian, which is helpful. Welcome back to the club, because I think he played for us. He played for Red Star. Oh, that's controversial. I thought he played for us. It was Red Star. He's the enemy, essentially. So I must say, a little lackluster with the transfers, but it's just a product of the environment we're in. I hope I've explained myself. I hope we're not too cross that we've not been able to completely reinvent the squad like I said we were going to. We've had to sort of deal with the situation we're in, and this is the situation we're in. But I must say, I have already wasted far too much time explaining all of that. We need to get into today's game. So, Almi, the new goalkeeper, starting at the back. Harej Buncevic starting at left back with the 2 new centre-backs, Hammerberger and Hendrick, at the back. And then we've got this guy at right back, who I need to nickname because I just can't quite get his name right. His surname, Radmanovic, isn't difficult, but when I'm getting it wrong there, it's Radmanovac. And this is why I need to just give him a nickname. So, set a nickname. We'll just get rid of his surname, and he'll be known as Stefan for the rest of time. In the midfield, we do actually have 2 familiar faces from last season in Filip Asimovic and Kovacevic, because the new guy in on loan is actually injured right now for another 3 weeks or so. So don't expect to see him in today's episode, but when he gets up, fit and ready to play, he'll be very, very good for us. Jezovic starts on that left-hand side. Him, Harej and Thaddeus in that first game combined really nicely against Vojvodina to score a lovely goal. So those 3 I've got a lot of promise for. I'm really looking forward to seeing what they do this season. Nikolic starts in the attacking midfield. He's a very talented player, albeit a little bit old, and to be fair, his contract's not that bad, which is why I was quite happy to keep him in the first place, but he's still kicking around at the club. And then starting on the right-hand side is my arch nemesis, the winger who I just cannot pronounce. Obviously, that means we've got to give him a nickname, and because I just can't pronounce any of his name, I'm going to take the MIL from his first name and that O to just call him Milo, because that's just a lot simpler to say, and then we know who we're on about then. 1 syllable, it's perfect. I can say it. It's actually 2 syllables, isn't it? You hate to see it. Anyway, it's taken long enough. Kickoff is upon us, and hopefully we're just going to absolutely batter Hapoel today. We want to do well in the Champions League this season, of course, for our reputations. Ideally, for that to happen, we need to be getting through all of the rounds of the Champions League qualifying rounds, and we had a goal disallowed there. It was quite an obvious offside, to be fair, but as I was saying, we need to get through this second qualifying round, the third qualifying round, and the fourth qualifying round. It might be called the playoff, I'm not quite sure. It's one of the two. We've scored another goal there. And hopefully that is Hammerberger, Thor Hammerberger, a goal on his debut. You love to see that. Introduce himself to the club nicely. The best name in football, and clearly one of the best headers in football as well. Because any other player in the world, 3 yards out, open goal, would have missed that. Thor, he scored it. And another free kick in literally the exact same position. And he's done it again. And again, we're showing you why Thor Hammerberger is literally the greatest player to ever have existed. Not because of his name, because of his heading ability. Watch this again. It's literally a carbon copy. That is so weird. And now another one from the other side, which Thaddeus has just put over the bar. Unlucky lad. Keep it. We've had nearly 20 shots in half an hour. This is the walkover. Easy game. If we can make it 3 just before half time, that would be perfect, as Jezovic does make it 3. His first of the season, assisted nicely by Milo. How much nicer is that to say than whatever he was called before? Just Milo. It's simple, effective. We know exactly who he is, and he gets a great... And already I like him. I like him 10 times more now because he's got a name that I can say. Like last season I hated him just because I wanted to sell him because of his name, and that is actually really terrible of me. So I do apologize. That is awful. I'm sorry, Milo. But he's back on the ball right now. If he can make it 4 before half-time, I'll write a formal apology to his mother, which I've now got to do. I've got to, that's a real player. It's not a regen, so I need to go and research and find where that sounds a bit weird as well. Oh my God, I'm saying some terrible things today. Half-time though, 4-0 up. I think we should be pretty content with that to just sort of whiz through the second half and just sort of get the win done, as Thaddeus Igalo can't score a 5th goal there at the start of the second half. Turns out I should have kept commentating after Thaddeus missed that header, because we've just seen a fantastic goal here. Milo doesn't quite win the header, and Simovic gets on the end of that ball and he just whacks it. What a finish. 5-0. Okay, well, if I'm honest with you, I don't think we need to do the second leg of this game. If it was close, we'd do the second leg. But in the interest of time, I'm already over 20 minutes into the recording. Episodes are usually only about 20 minutes or so. So I think it would just be quite boring to do the second leg of this on camera. So what we'll do is we'll play it off camera, have a look at the draw, and then see who we get for tomorrow's episode, as Milo makes it 6. Beautiful stuff. And can we possibly make it 7, as Asimovic on the ball loses out to Agami, plays it back to the goalkeeper. Can we grab another one? It's a poor clearance there, as Milo now with a chance to give it to the opposition. Fair enough. I'm not quite sure what was wrong with that one, but either way, we have one possession back. Stefan coming forward down his right-hand side now. I've got some hay fever and I can feel my nose really itchy, and I'm about to sneeze. So if we can just score a goal before I sneeze, that would be beautiful. As Harej comes forward, can't score. Let me sneeze now. Come on then, a corner being swung into the middle, and Thaddeus does get a goal today. You love to see it. Or is that his second of the day? It's his second of the day. 7-0. 7-0, lads. Okay, maybe I was wrong with this Partizan side. Maybe it doesn't need to change that much, because we are, with the right additions, 36 shots. You love to see it. So a nice 7-0 there in the end. That was a bit unexpected. Didn't think we'd do that well. But as I say, I can't see them winning the next leg 8-0. So we won't do the second leg on camera, because that... what's the point? So in a couple of days' time, we are playing against a team called Makva in the league. As you can see, we are sitting 7th after that first game of the season and that 2-1 win over Vojvodina, which was very nice, actually. We did really well in that game. The scoreline makes it look a lot closer than it actually was. 21 shots to 6. We should have done an awful lot better in that one. But a Thaddeus Igalo brace in that one gave us 3 points. And then he just got a brace in that Hapoel game, so hopefully he gets another one against Makva to take us to another victory, and that would be brilliant. Borja Mayoral is now leaving the club, which is great. I mean, it's quite a cheap £1.2 million fee, and we are having to pay 5k per week for the rest of the season for him to actually go to this other club. But it's worth it. I'd rather pay £5 a week for him not to be at the club than 25 grand for him to actually be at the club. For the game against Makva, the team is looking pretty fit once again, so I am more than happy to just keep it as it was. So same again, please, boys. Another 7-0. So then, kickoff is upon us, and again, we're on. These Serbian clubs love their long pitches. They love them. I don't understand why, because it helps us out massively because we score a goal in 18 seconds, apparently. Well done, lads. Thaddeus and Jez combining once again for Thaddeus' 5th goal of the season already. And again, Harej getting in there. I say this left-hand side is fantastic. Harej Buncevic puts it into Jez Jezovic and Jez Jezovic into Thaddeus Igalo. It's the holy trinity of players. And can we grab another goal very quickly as Jez Jezovic gets on the end of a bad goal kick. Tackled. Is this a penalty? It is a penalty. Oh my gosh, it actually is. Okay, fair play. It's going to the VAR for this one apparently. I didn't even realise Serbian football had the VAR in it, but apparently it does. So we'll consult the VAR guy, and what's he saying? It's going to be a penalty, because it always bloody is, isn't it? Always is. Go on, tell us. It's, oh, not a, that is literally the first time I've ever seen it say not a penalty. I'm not even joking. My God. Let me know in the comment section, like 9, 10, I would say almost 10 times out of 10, they give 99 times, this is what I'm trying to say, 99 times out of 100, they give that penalty. What do you guys think in the comments below? Because I'm sure I can't be the only one that every single time it's a penalty. That very, very rarely happens. It doesn't matter, because Jez Jezovic gets us a second, not just a second goal. Kovacevic gets us a second goal. Jez Jezovic is unlucky not to get us a goal there. But either way, 2-0 up. I won't complain anymore. And now a corner for us. This actually could be 7-0. This could be another 7-0 game. You love to see it. 15 shots in the first half an hour, 3 goals. We are absolutely dominating this episode. Absolutely fantastic. Milo coming forward down the right-hand side. Go on, lad. Put a good cross in the middle, or play back to Stefan, who can put it back into Milo, who can put a good cross in the middle. Kind of Thaddeus, unlucky there, son. And again, before half-time, we've got another chance to come forward. Stefan into Milo. Thaddeus, oh, it's a great save from the keeper there, to be fair. We've had so many great chances and so much success down the wings. We've got the wing this side of HJT. This is our MSN, all right? We've not got Messi, Suarez, Neymar. We've got Harej, Jez, Igalo, Thaddeus Igalo. I must say, it's a good job that we have massively won both of these games today. If we'd lost them both, you guys would have been absolutely at me in the comment section telling me that I should have bought some better players. But actually, the transfer policy that we sort of had to adopt, forced to adopt in the end, is by retaining a lot of players, not selling many, bringing in only a few additions that are actually going to improve the squad a little bit. It's actually worked out very nicely, because 10 goals in today's episode, 0 against. You love to see it. You love to see it. Now, my plan was to actually go and play this other game off camera, the Champions League game, to do the draw afterwards. But actually, the draw is after that Kukiriki game. So what I'm going to do is call the episode here. And what we're going to do is instead come back next episode for the next game. That's what we'll do. So not sure when it's going to be. I assume very, very soon. Probably around like the Rad game or something like that. But we'll come back for the next episode for the next round of Champions League fixtures. And hopefully get ourselves a little bit closer to the group stages. So thank you so much for watching today's episode. I hope you guys have enjoyed it. Of course, if you have done, drop a like on the video for me, subscribe to the channel if you're new around here, and I'll see you next time. Have a good one. Goodbye.